Test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
Check. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Nick Reynolds, Steve Harness, and Cousin Brewski. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Take one.
The podcast of buddies, your buddies, my buddies, our collective buddies. Back at it again. It's The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Alla Brewski, and welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
That's right.
Buddies, besties, and buffoons. We're the three Bs.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Find us on the interweb. It's thevocalminority.net. It's fun. It's interactive. But what is much more fun is our social media sites, especially nowadays. So find us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, X thing, Reddit. Oh, boy, Reddit blew up for us finally this past week.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. We've been, we're fairly new on Reddit. We're just catching the wave, and it seems like it's started to blow up.
It's all topic-based. Reddit's weird. I'm still figuring it out. But essentially, we have a page that sits there, but then we post our stuff on other topic-oriented, whatever the video we're posting.
Sure.
Holy crap, this week we did our gun control thing. Not even gun control. We did the smart gun thing as to what is possibly wrong with having a smart gun.
Yeah, and when I say it blew up, that's what it blew up about. I mean, it was, it's like Steve mentioned on the show. I guess I don't look at this stuff enough or read conservative comments on guns on threads. You know what? They went nuts for something that is so benign in my world.
Yes. Ironically, gun nuts are triggered very easily. So I will tell you, Twitter, it didn't do much on for some reason, but every other platform, it blew up. Just the notion of smart guns was just pissing off conservatives, and none of it made any goddamn sense whatsoever. I was hoping to come to you with the logical list of why they're against smart guns, but there's no logic there.
Well,
No.
you know, it was good enough for James Bond and Skyfall.
Yeah, listen, it's been in a bunch of movies. I mean, it's been in Blade Runner, Demolition Man, somebody brought up for some reason. Like, there's a whole bunch, and the whole smart gun thing. It was hilarious to me because the top reasons were, let me see, one was that the man can shut your gun down remotely. The manufacturer, the government. But I'll tell you, I'm going to try to get somebody on from this company, BioFire, because it's an American company with this kid that won a science fair project when he was 16. And he has spent now 10 years and millions of dollars researching on how to make an actual working smart gun. And one of the first things he pointed out in this interview that I watched was this thing is not wireless. Therefore, no one can remotely hack it, shut it down, anything like that.
One of the big comments on this thread is like their biggest problem was like, gripping that and having it acknowledge me as the rightful owner takes, an extra split second that you could be killed in.
Right.
And I was like, what a fucking joke, dude. And I shit you not. I woke up this morning, drinking my coffee, scrolling through social media, and there was this post on Facebook in my community of Maple Valley where I live, where this lady posted a picture of herself on a local walking trail. She's in yoga pants and the whole workout gear. And then she's got a gun on her hip and it says like, what's the opinion? Concealed carry or open carry like I do? And this fucking thread blew up, dude. And it was so many people saying this exact same thing, like, concealed carry, like you're inviting people to come up and steal your gun, or I want my gun to be right where it's supposed to be on dominant hand because a split second can leave you dead on the street.
Right. These people live in some fantasy world of just high crime at every waking corner around you, that a split second. What I learned is most gun owners seem to be highly irresponsible because you're supposed to have your gun locked up. It's either supposed to be in a safe or have a gun lock on it. And all these people, I was trying to tell them, like, you understand this smart gun would get unlocked quicker than you can unlock a physical trigger or take it out of a gun safe. And they're like, I don't leave my gun locked up. I need that thing,
It's on him 24/7, dude. This lady was talking about, like, the holster I got, it doesn't, it's not impaired at all when I have my baby on my hip. And, the gun just sits right underneath. I was like, where the fuck are we, dude? I mean, I'm not seeing the danger that you all are feeling.
I thought I had two good points that would appeal to gun lovers. That A, safer guns make less of a political target. The libs can't try to take your guns away if you're taking steps to make them safe, like making a smart gun. That meant nothing to them. And then the other one, they were like, well, what if the battery dies and I need my gun? Well, this gun comes with this really cool holster stand that it lives in. And you could have that thing sitting on your bedside table, your coffee table, hang it by the front door because it's locked. It's safe. But you can have it out in the open. Like, isn't that every gun lover's fantasy? Then they're like, what if the robber knocks it out of my hand and my wife wants to pick it up? Now, no, you can encode it to anyone you trust, you morons. Encode it to you, your wife, your neighbor. It doesn't matter.
There was a guy on there that said, I want all my buddies to be able to have access to my firearm to protect themselves if something should go awry at my home. And I have 30 friends. What am I going to have them all just log in and sign into it so they can use it whenever necessary?
Well, technically, yes. Or, come on, you're all gun nuts. You all have your own guns anyways, all 30 of you. Come on.
Where the fuck do you live, dude?
Well, I want to know does this guy feel the same way about his wife?
About leaving her unlocked?
For all his friends to come over and use whatever they want.
All his buddies? Yeah, maybe so, dude. Yeah,
share alike. You're going to share the guns, right? You're going to share the old lady, too?
Some of these guys love their guns more than they love their old ladies, so.
Oh, yeah.
Or their children, by the way. That was the thing. Some of them were like, I want anyone to be able to access my gun. I'm like, how about children or the guy that breaks in your house when you're not home? You just want anyone to access your gun, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, it was exhausting.
One of the last comments I'll bring up on this thread I was reading this morning on my community page was, the debate was over open carry, concealed carry. And some lady was like, if you don't have your concealed carry, better get it quick. Things are changing rapidly and it won't be available much longer. I was like, no, none of that is true. What the fuck are you being fed?
When was the last time we had meaningful gun legislation passed in this country? I'm going to say the 90s. So all of these conspiracy theories of the Dems are coming for your guns or every gun will have to be a smart gun. We haven't passed any gun laws. Why would we be able to pass some ultra restrictive one all of a sudden?
What happened in the 90s that was worth mentioning?
The assault weapons ban that then expired, 10, 15 years later, that never should have expired because it makes no sense.
Okay.
Well, but also add in that W actually granted gun manufacturers immunity from being prosecuted.
Yeah.
Listen, there's 100 things we could do, but if no one's been paying attention, we haven't done any of them. And
of course.
Part of it is there's no appetite for it nationwide. And also, like Nick pointed out last episode, I hate to point this out to everyone, but there's a bunch of Democrats that own guns too. So the majority of this country is not anti-gun or they don't want them banned. They just want common sense gun laws, and we can't even get that done. So please.
There's a guy that made a comment on that thread that said, hey, people, stay vigilant. Keep your concealed carry on you 24 hours a day. There's a lot of Dems out there. I'm like, you're fucking hunting Democrats, or you think they're hunting you? Like, this is a crazy fucking world, man.
Right. Are we all pussy snowflakes, or are we predators out there hunting the conservatives? Pick your battle, please.
Can't be both. All right. Well, let's get into some real news, some solid news. What do we call it? Need to know news? News you need to know.
This is Need to Know News.
Yeah.
News you need to know.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
Steve Harness.
It's interesting that you just said let's get into some real news because I want to start off with fake news.
Oh, okay. Let's see where this ride takes us.
Right. We're always talking about the fact that is there media bias, isn't there? I am sick of people saying that, MSNBC is just as biased as Fox News. Like, they're both biased in their own directions, and that is such a load of horseshit. The facts have a liberal bias. We've talked about it before. Like, if you say climate change is real, all of a sudden you're a liberal. If you think that gay people should be treated well or minorities should be treated, all of a sudden you're a liberal. But
yeah.
Here's the thing, as we've discussed before, when a news organization like MSNBC, ABC, CBS, PBS, when they make mistakes, they correct it. And they never, ever, ever, ever go on air with a just blatantly fake news story that they would have fact-checked ahead of time, but they decide to run with it anyways. But
yeah,
the conservative news media, and I shouldn't even call them news media, the conservative talking head fearmongers out there ran with two stories this past weekend here. I'm just going to lump them together. The first one has to deal with the ever so sweet little Easter bunny.
Okay.
Somebody asked me yesterday, does the Harness family celebrate Easter? Because they know that we're not big religious families. And, my answer to that is just like Christmas. Like Easter is about a bunny that was banging a chicken, I guess, and had these eggs, and they hide them. They hide them out of shame, is my theory.
Well, actually, Easter, there's actually a pagan goddess named Esther, Eostre, and she's the pagan goddess of fertility. And what do women have? They have eggs. So it actually comes back to
How dare you? It's the day Jesus turned into a zombie and rose from the grave and walked.
What a zombie, dude. Stop saying
he was dead and now he's walking. That's a zombie by definition, right?
But he's walking as he was in the beginning. He doesn't come
dead
back
and now he's walking? Is he not walking dead? No.
That's not the definition of Jesus, dude. Come on. Have a little class. All right.
No. That's okay. This is your part, your segment anyway. So go ahead.
Okay. My point was certain holidays are not religious in my household. Like Christmas, It's about Santa. It's not about Jesus. Neither is Easter. But anyways, all right. So here is the outrage this weekend. Conservative shell longstanding White House Easter egg contest. So conservatives and Fox News, OAN, all that stuff. Several conservative outlets. We're not yoking around. I really hate it when news people try to make jokes in their comments. That's not my bad joke. It's NBC.
Okay, I'm trying to help you. I don't know what's yours.
Thank you.
Come on.
They weren't joking around this weekend when covering the White House's annual Easter egg celebrations. This is where they do the Easter egg roll across the White House lawn there. So one of the things on the rules that was posted and that conservatives are running with is that this year's flyer, who was not put out by the White House, by the way, it was put out by the National Guard, but whatever. This year's flyer does say that the decorated egg submissions, quote, must not include any questionable content, religious symbols, or overtly religious themes. And oh boy, the conservatives freaked the hell out. Biden is taking away Jesus from our Easter. How dare he not let us have overtly or even subtly religious symbols on our Easter eggs?
I suppose, knowing what you just said that they said, you didn't read Biden's Easter message to America because it was filled with he and Jill celebrating religions and talking about Christ. Like, come on.
Yeah, Biden's religious.
And the man goes to the same church in Delaware, the Brandywine Church that he's gone to his entire life, and it's also a cemetery on the grounds where his son and his first wife and children who died in a car accident are buried as well.
Right. Mm-hmm. And after every speech, he says, God bless our troops. Like the whole, as a agnostic atheist kind of guy, I wish he would actually take it down a notch. But yeah, so they're accusing the White House of Biden of taking this out. But the thing is, that rule has been in place not for a year, not for 2 years. It's been in place for 45 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, why is that? Do you know?
They're trying to make it inclusive. They don't want it to be a religious event. They're trying to make it for children. They don't want it political. They don't want it religious. It's supposed to be an event where kids come to the White House. So that means through the Reagan years, the first Bush, the second Bush, the Trump years, that rule was in place for all of it.
And they were also imposing that rule because here in America, we are a melting pot of religious freedom. So, there's going to be a ton of people out there. Let's just not offend anyone or not make anyone feel like this isn't their day to celebrate too. Let's just be inclusive and color the fucking eggs with food coloring. Right. It's a joke, dude. Come on.
But if I may, I was working last night and I picked up a passenger, Indian woman, who was at her daughter's house, and they're not Christian at all. They're Hindu. But they still got together on Easter and had an Easter feast, and it was all traditional Indian food and that sort of thing.
That's what we do. We still celebrate, but there's no homage to zombie Jesus or whatever you want to call him. So, but again, this is just, it's literally fake news. Fox News ran with this. OAN ran with this. Every conservative talking head out there ran with this, but they knew goddamn well that this, no pun intended, they knew goddamn well that
you're not allowed to say that, atheist. Come on.
Oh, I'm smoking all of a sudden. So yeah, they knew that this had been started before most of them were even born, but they still decided to run with it. And I challenge you to find MSNBC, CNN, any of the other news outlets that run with fake garbage like this that they know ahead of time is not real, but they're just trying to rile you up. So
Yes. It's all about fear mongering.
no,
Yeah.
those of us in the broadcasting industry have known for years that Fox News, that Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, all these guys are playing a character. They're just pandering to you, the sheep out there, the flock that just want to eat up their garbage. They're using and manipulating you, and you can't see it, just like Trump is.
It's performance art.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right, Brewski.
And again, I said that to a few conservatives in these posts this past week arguing about stuff where I was like, you sheep don't see when you're being used. Trump is using you to get your vote, and I'm using you to get your views. And you don't see either of them coming, do you?
Mine don't hurt people. Trump's does. So
Exactly, but they just suck it up. And then, speaking of the gun vote, posts this week getting so many comments, I have noticed in our posts there are two topics that will just rile up the conservative world out there. One is guns.
yeah.
The other, transgendered people.
Yeah.
That whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, I had not seen that level of hatred and disdain towards other humans on any other topic we've covered.
No, dude. Come on. Trump plays it up all the time. I mean, he talks about the transgender. They go crazy. He loves it, and he's purposely being like, calling them trannies. Like phrases he knows are outdated and not respectable anymore. And he does it, and they yell and they scream at his rallies, and he loves it.
You can do it, baby.
Come on.
So, yes, this next fake news story crosses back over to the Easter thing, the faux outrage thing. So, President Joe Biden facing criticism from Donald Trump's campaign and the whole MAGA religious conservative world out there because he recognized that March 31st is Transgender Day of Visibility.
Oh.
Now, March 31st, that was Easter Sunday, okay? And that's what everyone's pissed off. How dare you honor these abominations, these transgendered people on Easter Day? But again, if you actually look at the facts, Obama started this in 2010. That was the first Transgender Visibility Day, and it was designated to be March 31st. That has stayed static. March 31st. Easter every year is on a different frickin' day.
Yeah.
So it happened to be that this year that Easter coincided with March 31st. What was Biden supposed to do? Not acknowledge it, try to change? No, he's going with what has been in place for 14 years. But again, Fox News, OAN, everyone railed on him. How could you put it on Easter Sunday?
He's also, he's highlighting not only because it's been there for 14 years, he's highlighting a day that offers us a little bit of time for reflection. As a cis white male, I probably spend a lot more time thinking about transgender people than a conservative does. But just as a whole, like, if you're not trans and you don't see trans people every day, you're probably not thinking about it very much. So think about it a little bit. It just gives us an opportunity to, like anything, reflect on some of the struggles and some of the things that happen to a marginalized part of our community that we should try and hold up and change.
And not to mention the irony. So they're upset it was on Easter. Are transgendered people not God's creatures as well? Did Jesus not try to teach us to treat our fellow humans well?
Yes. They always seem to forget that when it's something that they don't like, we talked about before that, Jesus hung out with the winos and he hung out with the prostitutes and he hung out with these people that were struggling and having, a hard time in life and took them on as a brother or a sister. Like, why do we forget that when it's convenient for you?
I may be the second coming of Christ. I hang out with winos and prostitutes all the time. So.
You do not.
Look at the time you spent around Nick and I. Geez.
Right, we're all whores. That's
You've got your winos, but none of us are prostitutes.
I'm a wino, Nick, he likes to, smoke a little bit, so,
Yeah.
Listen, I spent half my time working in the state of Nevada. Like most of the people in that state are whores. So
yeah,
it's a big, it's a big job creation thing over there. It's really, I say that half jokingly, but a few years back, the Moonlight Bunny Ranch issued a press statement saying, "We are full. We cannot accept any more applications. Like, we know the economy sucks, but we're full on whores.
We've got enough poon here. Like, just get in line."
That was a real story. So, yeah.
Well, I would imagine, though, if some lady was hot enough, I think they might make a little bit of room for her. If they thought they'd make a bit of money from her,
Well,
that's right.
Prostitutes are good at finding openings, aren't they? So you got at least 3 to pick from the menus I've seen.
3, 4 to 5.
3. I mean, there's 7 holes total. So
there's ear canals, there's belly buttons,
nostrils.
Nostrils, buttholes.
Right. If they have a glass eye, you can pop that bad boy out. I mean, you got options.
You guys know who Jordan Kepler is?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. From the Daily Show. He's a correspondent, but he's been doing a lot more since they don't have a host. Jon Stewart's on Mondays, and then all the correspondents have been doing it throughout the week. Right. But he was talking about that bridge, the tragic story about that bridge coming down in Baltimore. Yeah. And he was talking about the fact that news media has also, on top of fear-mongering, have become way too lackadaisical and comfortable with putting out information that is, not confirmed. He said, when this bridge came down, all these news organizations, and a lot of more Fox News, OAN, stuff like that, were talking about, a lot of people think this was a migrant that came over, illegally and crashed his boat. This is terrorism. Alex Jones is preaching that World War III has already started. Most people just don't know it yet, but we're going to see these things happening. Yeah. He made the comment like, it's okay to say this is breaking news. We don't have all the facts yet. As we get them, we'll deliver them. You don't have to just spew shit to be the first on the story.
Right. Yes. I was watching Anchorman 2 recently, and the whole premise of Anchorman 2 is that Ron Burgundy invented the Fox News world of just sensationalized, garbage media. Yes. And there's, it's great. The first time he's covering a car chase, he's like, we don't know for sure, but the man could be armed. He could be a drug cartel. Like, he's just making stuff up because it sounds sensational. And that's exactly what most of these news organizations do. The right-leaning ones. I did not hear Rachel Maddow covering this, with her conspiracy theories. So,
did you happen to see that show friend and super agent Paul Anderson was just given an award, I believe, or something? He goes and does this thing every year, does the Walter Cronkite Award for news journalism around the country. He's a big part of it.
Yeah.
These are people that believe in the tenets of true journalism, and they're trying to bring some of that back, where maybe we do some less opinion-based stuff and just tell the frickin' news, dude. Just tell it, and then you can decide how you want to feel about it, but it's just the news.
Sure. Listen, I think there is a good amount of that still. I mean, we're talking about MSNBC with people like Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes, but NBC News is different, just like CBS, ABC, PBS, BBC. Like, I feel those are pretty straight news organizations. They may have talking heads come on to give their opinions, but the actual anchors call it pretty straight. But I'm glad that Mr. Anderson is part of something like that, because it needs to stay alive before it is just drowned in the bathtub by the right wing.
Well, we used to have things that we'd get in trouble for. I mean, let's go back even 10, 15 years ago, that like the news organization, even a radio station that you were giving information out on, would have no problem firing you if you said bullshit, especially if it was offensive or hurt somebody,
Not the obscenity word. You mean just garbage news?
Yeah, garbage.
Okay.
Garbage.
Because, yes, they still frown on that on the radio and TV. Just so you know.
They do. All right. Well, we got to bring back our Walter Cronkites and our Paul Harvey.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
It just certifies this show as bringing real straight news reading, right?
Paul Harvey would not endorse us otherwise.
Easter was a big day Did you see that our boy Trump put out a total of 77 tweets as he spends another religious holiday going off the rails? Okay.
The busy guy he is, that he has time. I spend a lot of time on social media for us. I don't put out 77 of anything in one day.
Hell no, dude. Do you know how much? I mean, he has to be doing it all day long. And we've seen a pattern on these religious holidays that Trump has done this. Let me play a little clip of audio. I'll tell you this tells you some of the tweets that he tweeted about. And this will lead us into, another story, but happened this weekend as well with Trump.
Republican frontrunner, basically, Donald Trump, who spent another religious holiday posting on Truth Social 77 times, sometimes unhinged, sometimes nonsensical, lots of all caps, definitely very mean. On Easter, among his many posts, one in all caps, blasting the, quote, evil and sick prosecutors looking to hold him accountable for his alleged crimes. He also shared 2 far-right news articles, one titled The Crucifixion of Donald Trump, and the other calling him a miracle, and The Chosen One, sent by God. If you don't think this is a cult, you might want to consider opening your mind a little bit here. And this one, highlighting a poll that claims he would defeat former First Lady Michelle Obama in a general election matchup. Other things he did, posted a picture of Joe Biden in a very dangerous, ugly fashion. That was on Friday, I believe.
And I will go into that and say that on Friday, there was 2 trucks going down the road. Just trucks. So you think of a douchebag truck. It's 2 of them with multiple flags of different, types. Trump, with a machine gun looking like Rambo.
The flags may not be red, but they are red flags.
Yes, they are red flags. These cars had decals all over the sides of them, and on the back, somebody was videotaping them going down the road. And when I say they had 5 flags each on them, just blowing, I'm not kidding. Mm-hmm. The very last truck had a graphic on the tailgate of Joe Biden hogtied. And it looks like, he's in the trunk or he's in the bed of the truck.
Yeah, tied and gagged. And by the way, I saw one of those in Nevada recently, just a week ago. And I was aghast before this even made a national news story. I was just like, that is so wildly inappropriate to show the president bound and gagged in the back of your truck. How is that not?
You saw that full-size graphic like that?
Oh, they're selling those things online. Now they're blowing up. Oh. So, yeah, I mean, the Nevada rednecks down there, one of them had it. And we in the media, like if we're on the radio, we're not allowed to threaten the president's life. That's literally illegal. So I don't see why that is not.
In the old days, it would have been. They would have the FBI, at least Secret Service would have showed up at your house and done some interviewing.
Right. Well, I would have at least taken a photo of it, including a license plate, and then posted it online and tagged the FBI and the Secret Service and said, hey, you guys might want to take a look at this and check this person out.
Because like Brewski says, if you see something, say something. And this is what happened on this particular day. Someone took a video of it, and then former president, dipshit, decided to repost it on, Truth Social. So created kind of an uproar, and people were upset about it on both sides. And here is the response given from Trump's camp, okay?
A spokesperson for the campaign said, quote, that picture was on the back of a pickup truck that was traveling down the highway. Democrats and crazed lunatics have not only called for despicable violence against President Trump and his family, they are actually weaponizing the justice system against him.
That was their response. So it was, they said that was an apology, but I didn't hear any amount of apology in there at all.
It was just some truck going down the road. Yeah, you retweeted it to 17 million followers. And when have us Dems, when have we called for violence against him and his children? I missed that memo.
I think it's because we laugh at, I laugh at violence happening to him. I'm not going to do it, but if somebody did it, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it.
When was that even though? When were we laughing at violence done against him? What has been done against him? I wish a meteor would fall on his head, but I mean, that's sort of comical. That's
yes. We'd like to see him get a hit over the head with a frying pan like in the cartoons, just comical stuff, dude. Come on. We'd like to see him go off the cliff and Roadrunner laugh, Then Biden's team made a response, and it seemed a bit different to me.
This image from Donald Trump is the type of crap you post when you're calling for a, quote, bloodbath, or when you tell the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Trump is regularly inciting political violence, and it's time people take him seriously. Just ask the Capitol police officers who were attacked protecting our democracy on January 6th.
Yeah. Ask Nancy Pelosi's husband. I mean, we've seen it multiple times, not just last year or two. I mean, this has been going back for years.
In this same weekend, Trump did a radio interview and had this to say. If you don't think that he is inciting violence or preparing people for a possible loss in this election and wanting a civil war to break out, then you haven't been listening to him closely enough.
I know what I'm thinking of could happen. Say Jack Smith says, okay, I'm going to put Donald Trump in jail.
I think it's a very dangerous thing to even talk about because we do have a tremendously passionate group of voters. And I mean, maybe 100, 150. I've never seen anything like it. Much more passion than they had in 2020 and much more passion than they had in 2016. I think it would be very dangerous.
He's talking about what his cult following has already done in the past and how much more they are riled up now. So if he was to go to jail, I mean, it's a very mob-like mentality, Yes. Put me in jail, see what happens, I think it's going to be very dangerous for you.
Anyone who tried to let him off the hook for his bloodbath comment. He was just talking about the automotive industry. Like, no, look at the context, not only of that quote, but just everything he's been spewing. He said bloodbath because that's what's on the top of his mind. He's trying to plant those seeds. He's trying to incite it. He already did it on January 6th. I mean, it's insanity that anyone thinks he doesn't want to encourage that kind of thing.
Some of these people that we see, rallying around him in the Republican Party. You remember Nancy Mace? We were talking about her. She was the one that, George Papadopoulos was talking about, being raped.
Milfy.
No, not George Papadopoulos, George Stephanopoulos.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you.
George Papadopoulos.
It's a Greek guy,
George Papadopoulos was the dad from Webster, I believe. Yes. Nancy Mace has been, demonstrating how fear-mongering is such a huge thing. We talked about it a little bit in Steve's first story, and we wrap it up in this one. Fear-mongering and talking about what state our country is in when it comes to high crimes is something Fox News uses all the time, but we see candidates using it. Now Nancy Mace is speaking out, regardless of the statistics that you can look up and find very easily that crime is down for the most part. Property crime is down from when Trump was in office by a fairly large amount. Homicide down from when Trump was in office. Violent crime has stayed pretty much the same. It peaked during COVID, and a lot of people thought that had, to do with a lot of the mental illness of people being stuck and staying indoors. But crime is down, but she continues to talk about how bad things are. She says, especially in big cities, you see illegal immigrants coming in, beating up our cops and being taken in without bail, let out of jail without bail, giving the middle finger to America and our men and women in blue and uniform. It's not happening, dude. It's not happening. She talks about fentanyl. You're seeing crimes skyrocket. You're seeing fentanyl cases skyrocket. We're letting China, allowing them to import deadly drugs like fentanyl into the country, and it's killing our children, killing our citizens. We're allowing Joe Biden to have the cartel sneak drugs into the country, smuggle people in. These people are killing us. This is not true. Right. Fentanyl captures and seizures at the border are way higher than they were under Donald Trump.
Yeah, crime is down, the economy is up, but facts don't mean anything in that, bubble over there. And there used to be an era in this country where if you could catch a politician just making one gaffe, saying one thing that was untrue, I mean, it was front page news. That politician had to make a speech and, rescind everything. No, I mean, now we just let politicians lie one after the other, and it's just accepted as, hey, that's where we're at nowadays.
Used to be real tough to be a politician. Who was the guy?
Gary Hart.
Who was the guy who was running for president and then he gave that odd yell at one of his
Howard Dean.
Howard Dean. He was like, ah! And we crucified him over it, dude. And he, had to be put to bay.
Hey, Dan Quayle spelled potato wrong. He's considered a just absolute moron.
Yes, dude. It is. It's fairly insane. So Trump calling for violence, the violence that people like Nancy Mace and other conservative Republicans think is already here. So vote blue, no matter who.
Would you like a little factoid about Nancy Mace, by the way?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
So the district that she represents is actually part of a lawsuit that the Supreme Court has refused to look at because the maps in South Carolina are obscenely gerrymandered to water down the black vote in South Carolina, and the district that she represents is part of that map. That if the map that was drawn that South Carolina refuses to put in place were there, then that would be a Democratic district. The Supreme Court won't take up this case right now. They keep putting it off.
Yeah. Here's what I want the Supreme Court to rule on as far as Nancy Mace goes. You gentlemen said that she was like a 5 or a 6 on the MILF scale. I think she's like an 8 easily. I mean, I think we need an official ruling because I think she's pretty MILFy. That's my only point here.
I think you're too horny, dude. I honestly think that must be what it is. Let me ask you, will you find Nancy Mace as beautiful after you get laid? I don't know. I'll check in with you and see.
I think my barometer stays consistent, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Just to wrap this little thing up, I am so sick of hearing Donald Trump say that it is unfair that he's going through all these trials while he's running for president. It's unfair to him. It is unfair to us that you're running for president while you're going through all these trials. Stop making yourself the victim. You're screwing us over.
Completely, dude. He shouldn't be allowed to go through any of this while he's, had all these indictments against him.
No, I think we should all be able to agree on that. And the fact that Nancy Mace is pretty hot. That's all.
That's a fact.
Need to know news. News you need to know.
It's time for another brewski. This one is a crazy brewski.
It's true, and he was sick. He came in and he's fighting through it, ladies and gentlemen. You wouldn't even have known.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, first I want to start off by reminding everyone that we are now 218 days from Election Day, and I need to ask everybody.
17.
Oh, no,
you got to stop from forgetting. No one hears this today, so your numbers are already wrong. No one's going to hear this till tomorrow. So.
Anyway, okay. Well, what have you done to help out the cause to defeat Donald Trump? We did it before, and we can do it again.
I wish that an anvil would fall on his head. That's what I did today. So
gentlemen, now we all have these fantasies. Everybody has fantasies.
Fantasies. Sorry.
Well, when I tell you about this fantasy, I think you'll all agree that this is something we all engage in.
All right.
The Powerball jackpot has soared to $1 billion from Monday night's drawing. $1 billion.
I usually buy a ticket when it gets this high. I don't play the lotto on a regular basis, but when Powerball gets in the B's, I buy a ticket.
I never have. I just I see the inherent scam of government sanctioned gambling. But do you know? And this is just a quick aside, Bruce. I'll let you get back to your point. Do you know the best way to win a lottery? I heard this from a statistician years ago. Best way to win the lottery. This is not a joke. There's a theory behind it. Do you know what it is?
No, please.
He said that if you play the same numbers every time, your chances actually go up significantly because the odds of you picking random numbers on the same day as the other random numbers coinciding is it's 1 in a zillion or whatever. But if you pick the same numbers every time, eventually those numbers will come up.
Well, yeah, actually, so my dad's numbers were always 313 and 727.
Nice, 313 in the house, little M&M. All right, so what's your story on the billions?
So it's $1 billion on Powerball. And so we here in the newsroom of the Vocal Minority, we thought we'd get out and we'd talk to the general people out there and figure out, what would you do if you won the $1 billion jackpot? And let's hear from our reporter that we sent out to the field.
Okay. Those are your lucky numbers. Do you know your chances of winning?
Slim to none.
Slim to none. You're right. Let me tell you, it's 1 out of 292 million. What do you think about that?
I knew it.
You knew it. Your numbers are lucky, though. Am I right?
I hope so.
Can I ask you, if you won all the money, what would you do with it?
Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
Oh, okay, that's not good. We were hoping for a different answer. That's probably not the answer that we're looking for.
Wow, that's the answer I was looking for. You're fired. Come on.
It's probably the most common answer. So sorry, news reporter.
He's being honest, dude. I mean, let's see if this world's going down in flames. Come on, cocaine. Come on, hookers.
Right.
Have a party.
I mean, you're using it for women one way or the other.
Do you believe in the curse of the Lotto winners? I mean, if you really do your research on it, you can see that most of them end up not only with great problems, but oftentimes death.
Yeah. I don't think it's a curse. I think it's what happens when somebody who's not used to having a bunch of money gets a bunch of money. Because all the leeches come out, you spend it on cocaine and hookers and just going crazy. And we were having Rachel and I were having a conversation with just even the amount of money. We have some money that if we die, we will leave to her niece and I mean it's my niece and nephew too, but it's on her sister's side because her sister's not in the picture. We were talking the other day of that is enough money that I think we need to set up a trust because if you give that much money to a young person, dude, I mean, look what these old people do that win a lot of money. They just go out on a bender. I mean, 2 chicks, cocaine. No, totally. Bill Gates said years ago that he wasn't going to leave his kids much money because he was like, if you leave them too much money, they're just not going to do anything. They're just going to blow it all and not be productive citizens.
Yeah.
I'm leaving them enough that they can live and maybe start a business, but not so much that they just give up on life.
Makes sense. He's got other organizations like eating babies to put money towards and stuff. That's what the conservatives think he's into. So yeah. Do you guys have people in your extended family that you don't talk to now that if you won $1 billion, you think you'd hear from?
Of course.
Yeah.
There are people that work at the grocery store that hit me up. I mean, any extended relative, for sure would. But I think I'm up for the challenge. I think I've seen the shortcomings. I think I could do it.
You think you can handle that? I
think challenge
$1 billion.
Accepted.
I don't know, man.
Universe, are you listening? I'm taunting you. Go ahead. Give me the billion.
Yeah. We had a local guy in the Tahoe community that came across a large amount of money, and he was just kind of a man around town, and he would help people with this money. But it opened him up to people just walking him up to him on the street saying my car broke down, this is happening in my life and begging for money. It would be awful.
Yeah. And the guy Nick's talking about, he ended up hating that people were constantly hitting him up, but he became a philanthropist. He was on the local radio just giving away money. So of course people are just stopping him in the supermarket asking for money, but he was trying to do a nice thing. It does backfire, and it's the same thing if you win the lottery.
It feels so weird to become, you've grown up 48, 53 years with this identity of what attracts people to you, whether you're a good person or whatever, and now you become this person that everybody loves and is simply for money. It would fuck with your head, dude, for sure.
Yeah. I deal with that with being so good looking. So many people, they just want to be my friend. So cool. So hip.
Step it up, universe. Give it to him. Let's see if he can make it last. I know that if he gets it, he will, probably give some money to me and Brewski. So we should be all right.
I would take care of you guys immediately.
Yes.
Applebee's is on me, guys. Okay.
Oh, can I get the big beer?
No, I meant I'd buy you an Applebee's franchise.
Okay. That's a little bit better.
I was just looking for the big beer and maybe an extra helping of wings. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that and give my kids the rest of the money. I don't know. I'll weigh my options.
We've got plenty of time to figure it out.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special.
Here is a
news bulletin. We interrupt this program to bring
all the humanity and all the faith. A date which will live in infamy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Need to know news.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, this is a fire.
News you need to know.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Thanks, Steve.
Indeed. All right, it's time for our revolving segment on what is hypocritical douchebag Elon Musk done this week.
Oh,
because he's back in the news yet again.
Why?
I wish he was not repeatedly in the news. I wish he was not a flaming hypocrite. I really wish he was doing good things with his billions of dollars, which he's clearly not. But.
No.
Exactly.
What a piece of shit, dude. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry,
and if you're on X or Twitter nowadays, I mean, that guy is... talk about Donald Trump tweeting 77 times a day. I don't know what Elon Musk does other than tweet all day, and it's all political propaganda, and he's not even the least bit shy or coy about it. I mean, he hates Joe Biden. It's just... I mean, it's disgusting, but...
So does his mom.
So, Elon Musk claims to be the hero of free speech. He claims that's why he bought Twitter. He claims he loves free speech. But we've seen example after example, most recently firing Don Lemon because he didn't like the questions Don Lemon asked. So now we have another one. We were talking about the fact that this group had been monitoring the rise in hate speech on Twitter, or X, or whatever you're calling it. And so Elon Musk decided that he was going to sue them because he didn't like what they were saying. Elon Musk's lawsuit against the Center for Countering Digital Hate has officially been dismissed by a federal judge in California who deemed the suit an attempt to silence the critics of the social media platform X. Congratulations! Exactly. Musk's X Corporation filed suit against the Center for Countering Digital Hate, because who wants to be against spreading digital hate? Accusing the nonprofit of intentionally and unlawfully accessing the platform's data to research reports just to disparage Twitter. And the judge said that, quote, this case is simply about punishing the defendants for their free speech. So literally, the judge nailed it down to this company has the right to monitor what is publicly accessible, and all you're trying to do is squash their free speech, Mr. Hero of free speech.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't squashed your free speech, even though it is hateful free speech, and I'm not going to squash theirs. He is such an idiot, dude. And this, I mean, really puts on display that this has to work in a round table, and he thinks it only works his way.
Right.
All conservatives, I seem to find this, that, seems to only work in their direction. But when it comes to celebrating, if I want to put up a devil on Christmas, you freak out. And here, we have freedom of religion. We let you celebrate your shenanigans. So why can't we celebrate ours?
Spot on. They're all for free speech if it's stuff they agree with. They're all for religion in schools if it's their religion. It just drives me apeshit. And yes, Elon Musk is the self-declared free speech absolutist.
Self-declared, yeah. I hate him more and more every day, and it's so funny because, people I'm around in my life don't hear as much about Elon Musk as I do. So they always say, why do you hate him so much? And then I tell them, and they're like, that's not all true. And I'm like, yeah, it is very easy to go find. Look it up. Read about Elon Musk. He's an idiot, dude.
Yeah, he doesn't get that his words have consequences to his shareholders, investors, employees. He doesn't give a shit because he's a spoiled rich prick that gets to go home to his mansion no matter who he pisses off that day.
He even said as much to Don Lemon. He said, I'm going to run Twitter the way I want with the free speech I want, and if that tanks the company, so be it. He said those words, dude.
So, yes, I love that a judge just stepped in and said, this isn't even going to trial. We're throwing this out. They have every right to their speech. They have every right to monitor you. And if you don't want them reporting on the 500% spike in the use of the N-word, maybe regulate your platform a little. Maybe have some community standards like every other platform does.
It's concept.
Again, Twitter banned us for saying slut once. They made us take down a video. But, he'll let all of his garbage run wild. It's only the speech he doesn't like.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Elon Musk, you can be under that same anvil that Donald Trump is under, and when it falls, we shall celebrate. Yes, indeed.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Start the news chant, please. Come on. News.
Yeah, let's get to it. You know what? I was going to pass on this story, but since we're talking about, religion and everything else, free speech, let's talk briefly in a comical way. I don't know how else to talk about it. Donald Trump is now selling a Bible. We've all seen it. And this Bible can be yours. He teamed up with a man of the world, Lee Greenwood, and formed a Bible, which I found out this week. Lee Greenwood made this Bible like 5 years ago, and it was failing, and he wasn't selling anything. He was losing a shit ton of money on it, and somehow he convinced Donald Trump to, partner up with him and hawk this Bible.
That's all Trump does is put his name on shit. He doesn't make anything himself.
Trump steaks. Yeah, I mean, you think that he got those steaks? Come on. Listen to this. We've all heard the clips of Trump hawking this Bible, but did you know that Saturday Night Live did a great bit this week? So I'm going to play it for you. It's funny. It starts out with, you get a little sample of Trump selling his Bible and then the fake Donald Trump selling his Bible. You don't know which one's real.
God bless the USA Bible. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents. Yes, the Constitution, also the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this. I'm proud to endorse and encourage you to get this Bible. We must make America pray again.
This is a very special Bible, and it can be yours for the high price of $60. But I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for the glory of God and for pandering and mostly for money. But you're going to love my new and I would say even better Bible. It comes with everything you like from Bible, like the story of Easter, which primarily concerns Jesus, not so much the bunny. I kept waiting for the bunny to show up. He never showed up. That's okay. But we love religion and we love God. He's probably the best part of the Holy Trinity. He's like the Beyonce, Cowboy Carter. God's the Beyonce. Jesus is the Kelly Rowland, and Holy Ghost would probably be the Black Michelle Williams, who's very important to a great number of people, almost as important as the white Michelle Williams is to white people. Bills, that's a good one. I like that one. I'd love someone to pay mine. Any takers? No? Well, back to my beautiful Bible, which also includes Constitution and Pledge of Allegiance and, I don't know, maybe Miranda rights.
People are buying this Bible, and I mean, let me just be clear and frank, okay? I want to be both. Please. If you're buying this Bible from Donald Trump, I mean, do I even need to finish the sentence? I mean, if you're buying this Bible from Donald Trump, you do not subscribe to anything that's inside of it. Right. I mean, you don't. And whether you think the Bible is real or fake, the tenets of the Bible, you do not subscribe to them if you're buying this Bible from Donald Trump.
No. Isn't there something on that top 10 list about not worshiping a false deity or false idol?
Yes.
A couple of things I want to point out. First of all, I love the USA Bible with our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence and the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, America's got nothing to do with that Bible, right? You know, it's about a brown guy from the Middle East.
Yeah, right. No, it's not American. It's, we've painted it as such, but it is not American.
Right. Jesus is not a white guy. Even if Jesus was real, which is debatable, he wasn't a white guy. Okay. I find that humorous. And also, I was recently talking on the show about the fact that most people in this country are center left. It's why SNL is popular. If most people were conservative, this kind of humor would not go over well. They wouldn't be able to make a product like that. They wouldn't get sponsors like that. But most people find it funny because most of us see the absurdity of what goes on with this sort of shit. So
even if you fall more to the center, you can laugh. You can laugh at this, right?
I think that Bible on the back, it says sucker in reverse, so that when you put it up to your forehead, Ash Wednesday or whatever, it just says sucker on your forehead now.
What a joke, dude. It is so funny to see him hawking this thing, and I wonder, will he make a ton of money from it? Probably so.
I mean, religious people love throwing their money at the cult they're in, so yeah, I would imagine he'll do very well.
Yeah. Well, he wraps up this whole thing with, he's selling the Bible, and then this weekend they had him in front of a big crowd, and I would imagine, I know, Steve, you don't probably know the Lord's Prayer, but if Brewski needed to say the Lord's Prayer, I'm pretty sure that he could, and most people who are Catholic or even Christian could recite the Lord's Prayer, and they're doing it in front of the crowd, and Trump's on stage, and he is, you say it out loud when we say it. Right. And he is not saying it and then realizing throughout that he probably should be pretending like he's saying it at a low volume.
Lip syncing, pantomiming it.
It reminds me of people used to say if you just mouth the word olive that it looks like I love you. And he's just thinking that throughout of I just got to give a few olives, through here that makes it look like I know what I'm doing. But it is so funny that you've never read that Bible, dude. You've never read it.
No. Chris Matthews asked me years ago, what's your favorite Bible verse? And he was like, so many. But
it's personal.
It's personal, so I don't think I want to share that with you. But what's the opening line of the Lord's Prayer? Let me see if I do know it.
Our Father.
Blessed be his soul.
No.
Walks amongst us. No, I don't know it. You're right. So,
yeah.
Our Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
No.
Dub-a-dub-dub. Enjoy your grub.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Okay, well, this is not something that I'm going to be down with because we all know I like cocktails and whiskey and beer and everything. But the latest trend amongst the Gen Zers is alcohol free.
Dude, I have been seeing more and more mocktail bars opening up and mocktail menus. I don't want to talk bad about it, because to each their own, and some people need to have it. But yeah,
I'll talk bad about it. I think it's absurd. I've thought it since O'Doul's first hit the market. Why in the hell would you drink a faux alcoholic beverage? That's the reason we drink beer and cocktails, is for the alcohol. Otherwise, they generally don't taste good. A mocktail, it's flavored water. Just drink a Coke. And alcohol-free beer, it's just drink your piss. What are you doing?
Well,
I disagrey.
They actually have things like a non-alcohol botanical spirit.
Mm-hmm.
De-alkalized alcoholized wine.
I've tried a few of them. Rachel has bought a few bottles of, she bought a zero alcohol gin, and she's purchased the zero alcohol wine. You haven't tried it, have you?
It doesn't matter. You're drinking alcohol to get drunk. You're not.
Not everybody. Not everybody.
Then why would you drink it then? Just drink.
I drink alcohol. I drink alcohol plenty and don't get drunk.
Well, but you get a little something otherwise, or you're getting down that path. Listen, I have a beer most nights now when I'm cooking, and I don't intend to get drunk. But, a little beer, a little alcohol in me, it loosens you up a little bit. Otherwise, I would just drink, a seltzer soda or something.
A lot of people are doing, sober October. They're taking these months where they're not necessarily an alcoholic, but they want to reset. They feel like they've been drinking too much. Quitters.
They're quitters, damn it. And winners never quit, and quitters never win.
Yeah, they want to be able to go with their friends and still have a nice time. So I'm not down on it. I just don't think they taste very good for me. I would rather just have water. Yeah. But if someone enjoys the taste of beer, which there are a lot of people who do, they'll have a near beer, have a Heineken Zero.
I don't know who you're fooling, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing, though, too, is that it's attached to this particular generation, and they're getting self-righteous about it.
Duels has been around a lot longer than Gen Z, but this is something I will join in on Gen Z bashing if this is truly a big trend. I just order a Coke, get a glass of water.
This comes from CNN Health. Let's see, what is this? It's called Nope. This one's called Nope. Another one called Wow. And another one called Aurora Bora. And
another one called Water.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever seen Liquid Death?
It's water. But you know what? You guys will be astonished to know, no matter the argument between the three of us, that this whole market for non-alcoholic spirits, botanical spirits, and near beer, Heineken Zero, is inflamed. It is going crazy. It is making tons of money. There is obviously an audience for it.
So is the Trump Bible market. Doesn't mean I'm going to jump.
It's not the same, dude. You cannot compare the two.
You're fooling people. That's the same.
You know what I will do? Maybe if these companies go public, I'll invest in some of them, and then I'll take the money I made and go buy myself a 12-pack.
Sure.
Some of those mocktails are great if you put like a shot of tequila in them. Then I think it's perfect.
It's all aces, baby.
Most of the cocktails you drink, you can't even taste the liquor in anyway. You're still drinking them.
Well, I'm a bit of a lightweight, but I've gotten pretty good. I'm doing at least a single, if not double shots, in most of my homemade margaritas. So.
Yeah, but you put sweet stuff in them because you don't want to necessarily taste the alcohol.
That's the entire point. That's what I'm saying. So,
I can't get you to drink some bourbon with me.
Alcohol tastes like paint thinner. It always has. So
I love it.
Why you disguise it. That's why cocktails were invented, was to disguise the flavor of the alcohol. Yeah. Otherwise, just take a shot.
No, I'd sip a nice scotch on the rocks. Pretty much daily.
Nice.
That's
happy hour.
Yeah. And I love the taste of it. And
but the first time you sipped scotch, don't tell me you didn't think like, whoa, like that burns, and like,
sure,
it's a taste you acquire
for sure.
Yeah, I would say it's a taste you acquire, and either you like it or you don't. I mean, that's just like food. Fish is a taste you acquire.
But you acquire it because you want to get drunk. That's why people drink alcohol. So
I'm with you, Steve.
Yeah. All right, we got to wrap this up. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, you alcoholics can feel the same, and I'll just continue to sip, dude. And even if I don't get drunk, I'm still going to enjoy it.
You do that, because I know you're smoking a bowl in the parking lot ahead of time anyway. So you're right. What does it matter?
I'm California sober, dude.
Exactly.
This is the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabruski, and thank you for tuning into the program. See our website, please.
VocalMinority.net. Follow us on all the social medias, and stop being a pussy. Call 844-48-VOCAL and chime in on anything you see out there with us.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. You were great today. Brewski, please.
Adios.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Nick Reynolds, Steve Harness, and Cousin Brewski. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.